In the first week of his presidency, Donald Trump wasted no time in pushing forward a sweeping and controversial agenda through a series of executive orders that sparked immediate reactions across the globe. From reshaping U.S. immigration policies to making bold foreign policy shifts, Trump's actions in those initial days have already sent ripples through domestic and international policies. Here's a breakdown of key actions taken during Trump's first week. One of Trump's most shocking moves was issuing presidential pardons to about 1,500 people involved in the 6th of January attack on the Congress. This included over 250 individuals convicted of assault charges, many of whom had attacked police officers with makeshift weapons. The pardons sent a clear message to far right groups, emboldening extremists and encouraging further support for Trump's controversial stance. In a highly criticized decision, the Trump administration announced its departure from the World Health Organization and suspended foreign aid for 3 months. This decision has left humanitarian efforts in jeopardy and disrupted the global fight against infectious diseases, particularly at a time when the world is still grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic's after effects. Trump's actions put the US at odds with global health efforts and have raised concerns among public health experts. Trump's nominee for the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, along with several key Republicans, voiced support for Israeli claims to the entire occupied West Bank, invoking biblical rights. This controversial stance has deepened the U.S.'s alignment with far right Israeli politics and further complicated the Israeli Palestinian conflict. Trump also rescinded sanctions on far right Jewish settler groups accused of violence against Palestinians. Trump made good on his campaign promise to withdraw the US from the Paris Climate Agreement, signing an executive order to formally exit the accord once again. This move, combined with plans to fast track fossil fuel projects, signals a significant retreat from global experts to combat climate change. Experts warn that this decision will worsen the climate crisis as the United States remains one of the world's largest greenhouse gas emitters. Furthermore, Trump declared a national emergency over migration, allowing for deployment of US troops to the southern border. He also targeted birthright citizenship by seeking to end the automatic granting of citizenship to US born children of immigrants. Legal challenges to this order have already begun, with many calling it unconstitutional and a direct attack on the 14th Amendment. In one of his earliest moves, Trump suspended the refugee admissions program, leaving thousands of refugees, many of whom had already been approved to resettle in the US, stranded. Among those affected were Afghan allies of US military as well as families of active duty service members. This decision further solidified Trump's America First immigration policies but drew widespread condemnation from human rights organizations. Trump reaffirmed his commitment to pursuing federal death sentences, directing the Attorney General to seek capital punishment for all crimes deemed severe enough. This push to expand the use of the death penalty, especially at the federal level, has sparked concerns over human rights and the fairness of the justice system. In what could be the highlight of the week, billionaire and SpaceX and Tesla founder Elon Musk, who's a prominent Trump supporter, raised eyebrows when he appeared to make fascist style salutes during the inauguration celebrations. His actions prompted widespread condemnation, with critics accusing him of aligning with far right ideologies. Musk later dismissed the criticism, fueling further debate about the growing influence of ultra conservative movements. In another controversial move, Trump signed an order placing federal employees working on diversity, equity, and inclusion, that is DEI programs, on paid leave. The order aimed to dismantle DEI offices and initiatives across government agencies within 60 days. This sparked backlash from civil rights advocates who argued it would reverse progress in tackling discrimination and inequality in the federal workforce. Trump's administration also rolled back transgender rights, ordering government agencies to restrict official documents to only male and female categories. The move drew immediate criticism from LGBTQ rights groups who warned it would harm the transgender community and undermine years of progress towards equality. The US State Department also implemented a one flag policy prohibiting consulates from flying flags other than the United States flag, including Pride and Black Lives Matters flags. In his inaugural speech, Trump proposed two major name changes. That is, renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America and reverting Alaska's Denali back to its former name, Mount McKinley. While these changes may be implemented in US documents, they are unlikely to be adopted internationally and are expected to spark frustration, particularly among those who support the indigenous naming of Denali. In a tense diplomatic showdown, Colombian President Gustavo Petro initially refused to allow US military planes to land with deported immigrants, signaling a potential trade war with the US. Trump had threatened severe tariffs on Colombian goods in retaliation. However, after Petro reversed his stance and agreed to accept deported Colombians, a trade conflict was avoided, though the threat of new tariffs remains. In his first week back in office, Trump has demonstrated that his administration is committed to implementing bold and often controversial policies, from aggressive actions on immigration and climate change to a crackdown on diversity programs. His moves have sparked intense debates both domestically and internationally. With many of these policies likely to face legal challenges, the coming weeks will be critical in determining how Trump's executive actions shape the rest of his term.